Hi, I'm Joseph Phillips. I'm the Director of Education for Instructing.com, where I teach project management. When I'm not teaching management, I'm spending my money on golf balls because I love to hit golf balls in water. Now, if you're a golfer, you know that's not true. No one loves to hit their golf ball in water. But golf can teach us a lot about risk. In golf, we have risk and reward. In project management, we also have risk and reward. Risk and reward in golf is I can take this shot over the water and be a little bit closer to my goal, the pin. In project management, risk and reward is that I can use fewer resources to maximize effort, not spend as much money, and get closer to my goal, which is to finish on budget. Doesn't always work out in golf or project management. Risk and reward has to be balanced. So in project management, we need to define risk. Risk is an uncertain event or condition. Your ball can go in the water or it can land on the green. Your team may get things done on time, or they may screw up and take longer. Or the software may not be compatible with other software. Or the vendor could delay shipping the materials or the products that you need. Those are all risks. It's uncertain if it's going to happen. Risk is everywhere in a project. Even the project itself is a risk because you don't really know how long or how much a project will cost until you get to the end. In project management, it's so important to take some time and do risk planning. That risk planning defines how will we go about monitoring and managing and identifying and tracking all of these risks in our project. So we have a risk management plan. That plan tells us then how will we do risk identification. So we need to be on the lookout. It's not a one-time activity, that we're constantly on the lookout for risk events. And then we have qualitative and quantitative analysis. Once we've identified risks, they go into a risk log or a risk register. Then we do some analysis. Qualitative analysis qualifies the risk for additional study. It's really fast, it's subjective, it's just a quick way of saying, is this a serious risk that we need to really look at? Or is this something with a low probability or a low impact that we can just keep an eye on? For those risks that qualify for more study, they go on to quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis is where we look at the actual cost, which is the impact, and the actual probability. So we have to do some testing and some analysis and some studying of that risk event. So how much is it going to cost us in money and in time and in other business value? And then what are the odds? What's the probability that it's actually going to occur? The risk impact times the risk probability gives us a risk score, which is called the expected monetary value. It's basically our risk exposure for that risk event. So we take probability times impact. So if we have a risk event that could cost us $100,000, and the probability is 45%, its expected monetary value, our risk exposure, would be $45,000. So to be clear about the risk that has a $45,000 expected monetary value, it's not going to cost us $45,000 if it happens. That's our risk exposure. What's actually going to cost us if it happens is $100,000. That's the risk impact. So when we look at the expected monetary value, that's what we're betting that it will or won't happen. So something to be aware of as we do quantitative analysis. Now, in some organizations, based on the size of the project's budget, that may be something we can live with, and we'll tolerate that risk event. In other organizations or projects with tighter budgets, which is often the case, that's a pretty scary risk. That could really wreck our budget if it comes true. Now we say there's only a 45% chance of it happening, but if it does happen, it's going to cost us $45,000. So this is where we get into risk response planning. What we take a look at is it worth spending $20,000 to make that risk go away? So are we uncomfortable with that 45% or chance of happening, and the $100,000 was our risk exposure? That leads us then to our risk responses. Now, because risk is uncertain and our conversation of risk reward, we have to think about what are negative risk events, which are usually where most of us go to or gravitate towards when we're doing planning and analysis, but also what are positive risk events, because that could be the reward, the outcome could be good for our project. So we have positive and negative risk events. Some negative risk events are outside of our control to make a decision about, and for those we escalate to management. Some risk events we just want to avoid, so we change our project plan, we change our approach to avoid that risk from coming into play. Transference is when we hire someone, like a licensed electrician, to manage the risk for us. The risk doesn't go away, but it's someone else's responsibility. The most common risk response is mitigation. Mitigation is where we try to reduce the probability or impact of the risk event. And then we have acceptance. For those that are of small probability and small impact, we can accept. Now, for positive risk events, we also have escalate and we have acceptance, but there are three others. We have exploiting, sharing, and enhancing. Exploiting is we know that's going to happen. We're going to take advantage of that risk event. So we know it's going to come true and it's positive, so we're going to take advantage of it. Enhancing means we're not 100% it's going to happen, so we take steps to try to make it happen because it's positive. We want the reward. So we enhance the scenario to get that risk to come true, a positive risk. Sharing is where there's a positive outcome of the risk, but we couldn't manage it on our own. So we partner with another group. So oftentimes you'll see businesses partner to get an opportunity. It's the same idea here, that we could partner with other groups internally or with vendors to take advantage of the reward for getting that risk to come true. And that's enhancing. So risk is everywhere. Whether you're playing golf or you're managing a project, you're going to encounter risk. Thanks for tuning in. I'll have more project management videos coming your way. In the meantime, keep moving forward.